break down.
Boy, it's interesting. When I mentioned 4, 6, 8 balls apiece, Dave Traber told me he bowled every game this week with a ball he's throwing right now. And I can see why. But that is very unusual for the contemporary player.
Well, Amleto's done it, though, over the years. There for a while when he was on his real hot streak, he used basically the same ball 1 or 2 every week, and he hit it with his talent. Although for most of them, they switch balls faster than you brush your teeth.
There you go. Amleto rolls it up in the pocket and leaves a solid 4 pin.
Amazingly, Amleto has 13 titles. He has over $1 million. We'll take a look at his unique style, 5 steps. Watch it as he hits the top of the backswing right here. We can see the back goes way up there, and he's down here. As he comes through, nice long slide, snaps it through with that, like pulling the lawnmower release.
A little straighter at the spare. 4 pin disappears. And you mentioned 13 PBA championships, still looking for that first major victory.
Although he has won a Tournament Players Championship, which many of the players consider a major. But as I was going to say, I would have to think that Dave Traber, with no titles, is the favorite in this match because of his ball reaction is so excellent. At least it was in practice.
Amleto sends it out, reels it back in for a strike on lane 13. Players at the opposite end of the bowling spectrum on this pair of lanes, too. Traber letting the lane, I think, help him hook it into the pocket, playing out and in, and Amleto going the other way.
And Amleto doing what he does so well, having the ball roll out right at the pocket.
Enormous scores on this championship round here. As I mentioned, our top 5 finalists averaged a little better than 240. See Traber just dumping that ball into the lane and letting the ball react to the surface.
See, and if Amleto tried to play in that same thing, his ball would just roll out. Again, Dave Traber, knees bent at the beginning right there, ball held right just below his chin, 4 steps, now pushes, so the ball's a little late in timing. We can see right here, in line, again, a high backswing, comes down. As he goes through with his slide now and then, kind of a stiff-legged slide. That's one reason why the ball doesn't hook as much, because he gets it further out of the lane that way. And what a reaction he's getting with the dry lane there, that dry portion of the lane. He was doing that the whole practice.
Perfect shot for Traber, who at 30 years of age wants to head back to the Tournament of Champions. Told me that was one of his major goals. Had a chance to bowl there one time back in '87.
As the National Resident Pro changed that year.
Amleto fires back with a strike, and I had a chance to chat with Amleto, a 2-time Player of the Year. Asked him if he was having any problems trying to motivate himself this year.
I don't know. It's hard to say. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's just all I know that my mind's all that matter when I'm bowling. It doesn't matter. My physical game is fine. Just it's the way my attitude, you know, when I'm bowling. If I take everything, you know, slow and have faith and everything work out good, but sometimes you just don't feel that way.
Right now looking for another strike to stay in the hunt and leaves the 2-8. Michael, you bowled many years on the national tour, had some great years. Was it tough to always go out there each and every week with the right attitude?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Amleto does it as well as anybody I've seen. It maintains that physical regimen and mental preparedness. Seems to be on an even keel, doesn't get too high or too low, which many of us struggle with, but he doesn't seem to. But you're only human. 2-8. Nice conversion.
Beautiful. Right on the button for Amleto Monacelli.
Amleto trailing by 12 pins, and Traber can extend it to 22 and 32 with a couple more strikes.
David looked very determined when he showed up to play here today. He feels it's about time that he ends up with a win.
You know, I think he senses that he has a great ball reaction, but he has to try and take advantage of this opportunity.
I see a classic example, not the greatest shot, maybe a little more speed as we take a look at his wife, Melissa, and yet the wall shot, great reaction in terms of the ball. So you're right, if he tugs it, he's probably got it. If he throws a great shot, it's flush, and if he gets a little right, it's a light hit.
That's right. I mean, he's got it all going for him right now.
Just got to go out and execute and try and get loose.
Although Amleto averaged 257 on this pair. So So it's not that he struggled with it either.
That's a good point. $27,000 would go a long way in catching last year's total. And you can tell that he also is very comfortable throwing the ball firm with a little less hook, trying to get the ball down the lane.
Well, that's his shot. That's his ace game. I mean, that nice firm speed, relying that when he throws it a little wide, the lane is going to bring it back.
It's funny, Walter Ray Williams Jr. said that you, Mike Durbin, would have loved the lanes this week.
And we see the bowler track there. Amleto sending it wide out to about the third board. Rolling it out right at the 1-3 pocket. But Denny, he better strike here in the 6th frame, or he's going to really face a monumental challenge. He's down 32 pins as it is right now. Strike here cuts it to 22.
Long way to go here in game number 1. Of course, our number 3 seed, Eric Forkel, will stand by and bowl the winner of this match. Butch Soper is number 2. Walter Ray Williams Jr. leads. And he leads in everything right now. Money, average, points, appearances in the championship round, appearances in match play. Overreaction, and that's what you get.
See, and that's the difference between on this pair of lanes in this condition with the hook ball bowler going at it and the straighter ball bowler going at it. And we see right here at the 4-7-10 or 4-6-7 rather. He's just going to try and throw hard at the 4-7. And only gets 8 out.
Instead, a bit of a give-up shot there for Amleto. A little disgusted with what happened. Dave Traber, perfect through 5 frames, and we'll be right back after these messages. The championship round finals of the Columbia 300 Open are being brought to you by Columbia 300. Columbia bowls the world over. By Denorex, the serious dandruff shampoo. And by Midas, the Midas way, the way it should be. While we were away, a shot in the 6th.
Traber with 5 in a row, going for number 6, right around that first arrow. Ball coming up, light again. He's had that reaction every time. He says, it's working, then. Why should I change anything?
Well, what an interesting week it was last night in the position round. What a wild finish it was for Dave Ozio and Mike Edwards.
300 to 300. Can you imagine bowling 300 and not winning the game? You know, of course, they didn't lose either.
It's happened a couple of times before, but they went crazy here in San Antonio last night. They're going crazy this afternoon. 7 straight for Dave Traber.
And I guess we should mention that the PBA is offering $10,000 if Mr. Traber would get 5 more strikes in a row. Perfect game, perhaps. And now Monacelli just thinking about finishing this round. Amleto's the type that just gets it 100% on every shot.
Needs to kick out the 9, got rid of the 4. Beautiful wife Tavesa watching, not happy with what's happened, but I'll tell you what, this is as nice a couple of people as you're ever going to meet anywhere, anytime, win or lose.
And Denny, what's happening here? During the commercial, the balls got stuck again. These are the reactive resin balls that both these players are bowling. And in bowling centers across the country, many times on the ball return, the reactive resin balls get stuck in the ball lift coming back up. So,
well, could have problems throughout the afternoon. Going to be a long afternoon for the mechanics here at Astro Bowl. We mentioned 300s. They were all over the place this week. The other 3 players to shoot them, Marshall Holman, Russ King, and Curtis Odom, who also finished in the top 24.
no.
And while we've got a moment, we'll also tell you about some outstanding racing action coming your way. Of course, the time trials of the Indianapolis 500. Don't forget, a little bit later on, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Trying to slow them down a little bit there at the old Brickyard, but they find a way to speed it up, don't they?
And of course, with AJ retiring just the other day. So.
Don't forget, tomorrow, live coverage as well. And we're back to spare shooting for Amleto Monacelli. Let me ask you this, Mike. Dave Traber's got 7 in a row. Problems with the ball return. What happens to him mentally with these delays? I mean, don't you want to be dead in rhythm if you're going to try and shoot a perfect game?
Yeah, you definitely do want to be dead in rhythm, and he needs to put that out of his mind. What it may do, though, happening in Amleto's shot, is giving the time to catch his breath, get the heart rate down a little bit, and relax a little bit more. If it happens in between frames from the right lane to the left lane, that could be upsetting, especially if it happened in the 10th frame.
course, I'm sure that you're very much aware of a 300 game that was shot a few years ago by Jim Stefanich at Mel South Shore Bowl out there in Alameda when he had to throw some strikes on an alternate lane.
Well, yeah, they actually used like lane 14 here and lane 15. One of the two television lanes had broken down back then. Of course, that was 20 years ago, Dana. How are you going to... You were really a youngster back then. You remember that?
Right. It was grade school then. It was an unbelievable 300. We could see one here this afternoon. Traber is just absolutely locked in.
Wired. You know, I told you in practice he looked like he had the best shot. He's been light every time on this lane. I don't know if he just threw it better or made an adjustment, but boy, the result was solid. It's looking like the only thing that's going to stop him is some kind of solid wrap, an 8 or a 7. Good speed.
Oh, Michael.
The 10.
That was a half hip, though.
Yeah, that was a half hip. A little more
right
speed.
in between.
That left lane appears to be finishing a little harder. How can you fault him, though? He's been carrying that kind of hit all game. So.
Good shot, just didn't quite get the hit. Dave Traber coasting to a victory here in match number 1. Possible 279. That's just the way to get the job done.
Amleto, if he takes it out the sheet, can finish with 224 and not even get a sniff.
Little extra room on the right-hand lane, and Amleto says, where was that about 3 or 4 frames ago?
Right. Well, his problem hadn't been with the right lane. It's been with the left lane. Missed it back in the 5th.
And he missed it big.
Or not the 5th, but the 6th when he had the 4.67. Before that, he'd been light with the 2.8.
Let's see if he ends up in the pocket with his shot. Going to finish 5th this week. A solid week from start to finish. There we go. Trouble is, out here, you don't get many second chances for those fine-tune adjustments, especially when you're playing against somebody that starts with the first 8.
It's hard to beat that even if you are fine, too.
That's pretty much the story.
Sooner or later, you're going to leave something if your opponent doesn't. It'll be interesting to see if the trouble continues with the ball return. I didn't see any balls get stuck in an hour of practice.
No, not one. The lights went on. Amleto with a 5 that dances, points at it. And with a strike here, would shoot 224.
You know, there are certain balls that does happen with. It may just be with Amleto's ball, and he's being eliminated here. The problem goes away, too. So.
Good point. I wonder if it's the weight in the ball sometimes. Traber told me he was using a lot of top weight to get the ball down the lane. That was his philosophy this week.
Well, again, with the dry back ends and the dry outside like that, that's a good philosophy. Top weight has traditionally been known to take the ball further down the lane. Amleto does finish it out.
Oh, boy, 15 back.
8 strikes, and he's not even close. He's going to lose by 50.
It's because Traber had 8 strikes, too.
But all in a row.
This is getting dangerous. You're so far ahead of me now, Mike.
But what's dangerous is we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, we got to start
trouble.
to disagree about a few things here. Ooh, that was a nice, loose, crisp shot. Traber only wondering to himself now, geez, I might have just carried it tonight.
Well, all you can do is hit the pocket with a good quality shot. If they don't fall, there's not much you can do.
Doesn't mean he might not have a chance to shoot a 300 here before this one's all over.
I'm telling you what, he is definitely wired on this pair. But going through 4 different opponents is no easy task on the PBA tour.
Walter Ray came as close as anybody this year, shooting 299. Perhaps he'll be the guy today.
So Traber going to finish with 269 and 9 strikes.
All right, Aspirin, it's 269 to 224. We'll come back with more from Astro Bowl in San Antonio, Texas, the Columbia 300 Open.